Imagine waking up and finding out that most of the encryption protecting the internet no longer works. Bank accounts, private messages, government systems, medical records. Everything that was supposed to be secure suddenly isn't. That's the fear a lot of people have when they hear about quantum computers. They immediately think, wait, can it hack everything? The answer is more complicated than that. And honestly, a lot less dramatic than the headlines make it sound.
So, when people think of a quantum computer, they often think of the big dilution fridge and the beautiful chandelier. What is actually doing all the processing is this little tiny chip all the way at the bottom, and that's the quantum processor.
Welcome to Midnight Deep Tech, where we break down the future after the headlines. No hype, just what's real and what it might mean for everyday life. In my last video on quantum computing, we looked at why these machines are fundamentally different from the computers we use today. This time, I want to answer one of the biggest questions people usually ask after that. What actually happens if quantum computers become powerful enough to break current encryption? To understand the answer, we first need to understand why encryption matters in the first place.
When they are finally here, they will be incredibly powerful. For example, they will be able to break our current internet security in seconds.
Most people never think about encryption, and that's exactly the point. When you log into your bank, send a message, or buy something online, encryption is quietly working in the background. It's like a mathematical lock, extremely difficult for today's computers to break. Some of these locks would take normal computers thousands or even millions of years to crack. That's why they've kept our digital world relatively safe. Quantum computers don't solve every problem faster. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. But there are certain types of mathematical problems where they could eventually have a huge advantage. And some of those problems are at the heart of today's strongest encryption systems. And that's usually where the panic starts. Here's what most headlines leave out. The quantum computers we have today are nowhere near powerful enough to break modern encryption at scale. Not even close. Companies like Google, IBM, and others are making progress, but building a machine stable and powerful enough to threaten today's encryption remains an enormous technical challenge. So no, nobody's secretly cracking your banking app with a quantum computer right now. The more realistic worry is called harvest now, decrypt later. Bad actors could steal encrypted data today and simply store it. Then, years from now, when more powerful quantum computers exist, they could go back and unlock it. That's why governments and security experts are paying attention now. Not because the threat is immediate, but because upgrading security systems takes a long time. The good news is that people saw this coming. Researchers have been developing new encryption methods specifically designed to resist quantum attacks. This field is called post-quantum cryptography, and it's already being tested and standardized.
By coming up with schemes that are trying to be robust to these quantum attacks, we are not saying because they exist, we're saying that because there's a small but notable chance they might exist in 20 or 30 years. And so why wouldn't we replace with an algorithm that at that time will shrug and go, don't care, right? So that's what we have to do. Post-quantum cryptography doesn't mean we are now post-quantum. Right? It means we're preparing for a world in which we might be post-quantum in the future.
Governments, tech companies, and security organizations are actively working on updating the systems that protect the internet. So what does this mean for you? Honestly, not much right now. You don't need to panic. You don't need to change all your passwords tomorrow. Most of the heavy work will happen behind the scenes. Banks upgrading systems, browsers updating standards, companies rolling out new security protocols. When done right, you probably won't even notice the transition. The interesting part isn't whether quantum computers will challenge encryption someday. It's that technology is always in this constant race. We build stronger locks, then someone builds a better lockpick, and we adapt again. Quantum computing is simply the next chapter in that story. So here's my question for you. Do you think people are overestimating the danger of quantum computing or underestimating it? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy these grounded, no hype breakdowns of emerging tech, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This is Midnight Deep Tech. I'll see you soon.